Before you can determine whether a document may need an apostille, you first need to understand the document itself because the right answer starts with the right questions. Hi, I'm Chermaine Smith with Elite Notary signing in Duluth, Georgia. And as a commissioned notary and apostille facilitator, I can tell you that apostille requirements can feel very confusing, especially when you're trying to determine whether your document needs notarization and apostille or both. And that confusion usually starts with one question. Does my document need an apostille? Now, that's a fair question, but it should not always be the first question. Before you can determine whether a document may need an apostille, you first need to understand the document itself because the right answer starts with the right questions. And there are three important questions you should answer before preparing any document for international use. Now, the first question is foundational. What type of document do you have? See, this matters because different documents are not treated the same. For example, a birth certificate is different from a transcript. A transcript is different from a power of attorney. And quite naturally, a power of attorney is different from a business document. These documents were created for different purposes. They originated from different sources, and they may be reviewed differently when they're intended for use outside the United States. So when someone says, I have a document, that's only the beginning of the conversation. The next step is identifying what type of document it actually is, because once you know that, the picture starts becoming much clearer, which naturally leads to the second question. Who issued the document? Now, this matters because the issuing party helps determine whose signature is connected to the document and what type of review may be needed. Was it issued by a school, a government agency, a federal authority, or was it created by a private individual and signed before a notary? See, these are very different situations. A government issued document is not handled the same way as a personal letter, a school record, a business document, or a power of attorney. The source of the document helps determine what signature requires attention before the document can be reviewed for international use. In other words, the origin of the document tells you a great deal about how the document may need to be handled. And that brings us to the third question. Where is the document going? Now, this matters because the destination is a major part of the conversation. A document intended for use in one country may raise different questions and considerations than a document being used somewhere else. That's why it's not enough to simply say, I need an apostille. A better starting point is, what document do I have? Who issued it and where is it going? These three questions help create a much clearer picture of the situation. Now, notice what we haven't talked about yet. We haven't talked about forms, we haven't talked about submissions, nor have we talked about the step-by-step process. And that's intentional because the process is not the foundation. Understanding the document is. And believe it or not, this is where a lot of people get stuck because they start searching for instructions before they understand what they're working with. They focus on the apostille first, but often the document is where the conversation really begins. So if you're asking, does my document need an apostille? Start here. What type of document is it? Who issued it? And where is it going? These three questions won't answer every detail, but they will help you better understand your situation. And once you understand the document, the rest of the conversation becomes much easier to follow. If you're preparing documents for use outside the United States and you're unsure what factors may apply, Elite Notary Signer provides apostille and mobile notary support throughout Georgia. Because before you focus on the apostille, make sure you understand the document. I'm Chermaine Smith with Elite Notary Signing. Let's continue to grow together. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who may need it, subscribe to the channel, and save this video so you can come back to it later. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.